Summonses that were adjourned from Monday are returnable back this morning to deal with. Before I proceed further to that, Council, take us through this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Two broad matters, Commissioner. The summonses that are returnable, as you mentioned, and also the various leave applications for final submissions, Commissioner. Perhaps if I could just invite my friend, Mr. Veritimos, to enter his appearance before I deal with the summonses, Commissioner.
Thank you.
If the Commission pleases, Veritimos is my name. Initial MM. I appear with my learned friends, Mr. D. Wood, Mr. Alavori, E-V-O-R-E, and Mr. E. Lilly, L-I-L-I, for Curtin Brothers Holdings NG Limited and Ballybor number 39 Limited. If the Commission pleases.
Thank you.
Now, Commissioner, what I propose to do is just mention each summons separately and have them discharged. There are only two summonses that we propose to extend to next week, Tuesday, the 14th, for hearing, Commissioner. But if I could just deal with the matters as they appear on the list. So, and I...
Mr. Commissioner, sorry, Council Assisting. Mr. Commissioner, we've had some discussions with Council Assisting, and we have no issue with the discharge of various summonses, subject to some preliminary matters being confirmed. If Council Assisting doesn't mind, since we had the discussion, if I could just deal with some of the preliminary matters before they're formally discharged. There won't be any contest about this. I'd seek to, firstly, to tender 3 letters. If I could tender, firstly, a letter of the 28th of February 2023 containing an attached document dated 7th of August 2024. If I could ask Mr. Wood to please provide that to you, Mr. Commissioner, and Mr. Guerrero has a copy of that, and Mr. Kipper, and seek to tender the letter of 28th February 2023 containing an attached document from IPBC dated 7th August 2024. If that could be handed up and formally tendered and given an exhibit number, as Council Assisting may suggest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. If I may hand up that letter of from Ashurst, 28 February 2023, attaching a copy of the letter from the IPBC dated the 7th of August 2014, addressed to Mr. Billy Minoka, Chief Executive Officer and Commissioner of the ICCC. If I could hand that up. We've spoken to Mr. Guerrero. We understand there's no objection in relation to that.
Thank you.
That is the position, Commissioner. In terms of marking the documents, Commissioner, I understand Ashurst have already tendered documents previously. Perhaps my friends can just confirm, but I propose that we basically carry on from the numbering sequentially based on what's been tendered previously by Ashurst. I recall a number of documents were tendered previously by Ashurst and marked as Ashurst documents. So if that could just be marked sequentially. We will confirm the exhibit number and I'll let my friends know in due course, Commissioner.
Okay, thank
just
you.
For purposes of consistency.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, if that could be, as I understand it, that's confirmed as being accepted into evidence and tendered, Mr. Commissioner, and it's just a question of giving it a number, is that right?
Yes, Mr. Veritimos.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. The second is a letter of the 28th of February from Ashurst to Council Assisting, containing to Council Assisting, 28th of February, consisting of 5 paragraphs, if that could be provided. And Council Assisting has got a copy of it and we've discussed it with him this morning.
Thank you, Mr.
We'd ask for that to be tendered.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Seek to hand up a second letter dated 28 February 2023, addressed from Ashurst to Mr. Gibson Guerrero, Council Assisting. Thank you.
And in the heading, it's headed Commission of Inquiry into the Sale and Purchase Motukea Wharf, production of documents by COI for the record. And if I could ask Council Assisting, consistent with our discussion this morning, if he could confirm the accuracy of the matter contained in paragraph 2 of that letter.
Council is,
Yes, Commissioner, I confirm that.
Yeah. Thank you. So if that could be accepted into evidence, that letter, and given an exhibit number in due course.
Yes.
Just check with Mr. Commissioner, are you happy to accept that into evidence and give it a number at a later time?
yes,
Thank you. The third letter is a letter we've discussed with Council Assisting. It's dated the 1st of March 2023.
Council Veritimos, I cannot hear you clearly.
Sorry. Can you hear me now, Mr. Commissioner? Are you able to hear me clearly now?
That's better.
Oh, sorry. Is that better, Mr. Commissioner?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, the third letter is the letter of the 1st of March 2023, consisting of 5 paragraph numbers. If Mr. Wood could provide that to you, Mr. Commissioner, and I'd seek to tender that letter.
Yes,
Thank you, Commissioner. And yes, it's a letter dated 1st of March 2023 from Ashurst addressed to Mr. Gibson Gororo, Council Assisting the Commission, and the letter is entitled Commission of Inquiry into the Sale and Purchase of Motukea Wharf, potential adverse findings. If I may seek to tender that letter into evidence. Thank you.
thank you.
If we could confirm, Mr. Commissioner, I understand Council Assisting doesn't have any objection that will be given an exhibit marking in due course,
I
but
have
should be
a
treated as
problem hearing
accepted.
you, Council.
Can you hear me now?
I still have
Are you
problem
able to
hearing
hear?
you.
Okay. Is that any better?
Council.
Are you able to hear me any better? I'm not sure whether from the other end they can
This
do
is better
anything.
now. Thank you.
That's better now, Mr. Veritimos.
Right, thank you. There seems to be needed to be adjustments sometimes from not just my end but the other end we've worked out in testing. Apologies, Mr. Commissioner. So there's the third letter that we'd seek to tender. If it could be confirmed, Mr. Commissioner, that that's being accepted in evidence and will be given an exhibit number.
Yes, I accept that, Council.
Thank you. And if I could ask Council Assisting to confirm the matters contained in that letter, particularly paragraph 3, is accurate?
Yes, I do, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is that I just asked, we've heard a discussion with Council Assisting and he's agreed to provide us with the letter in relation to particulars of adverse findings, which is referred to in our letter of the 1st of March, and agreed to provide that to us by noon Tuesday. If I could just ask Council Assisting to confirm that that's the position for the record and to inform you, Mr. Commissioner, that that will be done by noon Tuesday.
Yes, that is correct. Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Council Assisting. The next item, Mr. Wood will deal with the next item, which relates to some undertakings that Council Assisting have agreed to give, which have been formulated in writing subject to some amendments that Council Assisting wanted. If I could ask Mr. Wood if he could deal with that matter, please.
Thank you, Commissioner. As Mr. Vridomos and Mr. Gororo have indicated, we had a discussion before the hearing this morning, and we understand from Mr. Gororo and Mr. Kipper that it is intended that on a date to be decided, to be confirmed next week, that while we understand the majority of the summonses will be discharged today, we understand from both Council Assisting that they intend to call Mr. Daniel Rolpagera to give evidence in relation to summons number 8.
Thank you.
And to call Mr. Dare Vele in respect of summons number 30.
Number 30.
Yes, Mr. Dare Vele in relation to summons number 30, which in respect of today's daily diary, I see that item number 3 lists Mr. Daniel Rolpagera. Item number 3 on today's daily diary.
Yes.
And item number 9 in relation to Mr. Dare Vele. Now, Commissioner, in relation to, it is intended in terms of the roadmap, the proposal that we will be, we've discussed with Council Assisting and we'll be putting to you, Mr. Commissioner, is that in relation to the roadmap that in respect of Curtin Brothers and Ballymore, that we'll be making our submissions on Thursday next week, which is the 16th of March.
Yes.
And so in terms of that roadmap, it's intended that that be next Thursday, the 16th of March. Council Assisting can confirm, but we understand that early next week on a day to be confirmed, they will call Mr. Rolpagera and Mr. Vele in respect of certain evidence they wish to call. And on that basis, and noting that we have recently received documents in relation to KCH, also noting that in relation that documents regarding PNG ports were tendered into evidence in February and April last year, and in respect of PNG ports documents, we can confirm that we received a memory stick from Mr. Gibson Gororo yesterday in relation to PNG ports documents. We're now going through the process of confirming what documents are on the memory stick, and we undertake to confirm with Mr. Gororo early next week what documents we confirm have been provided on the memory stick. So noting that we've only just also received some documents that we wish to make submissions on Thursday next week, we've put forward 2 proposed undertakings to Mr. Guerrero, and which we have discussed with him. And if I may, I would seek to hand up both draft undertakings to you, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you.
Mr. Guerrero has a copy of them. And undertaking, you'll see that there are 2 undertakings. In the top, it says undertaking by Council Assisting Mr. Gibson Gororo, undertaking number 1. We're requesting these undertakings for various reasons, but importantly that we'll be making submissions on Thursday on behalf of our clients, and we want to confirm the understanding on the basis on the terms that we make those submissions. And so the undertaking in number 1 is that Mr. Guerrero will confirm that the only potential evidence, written or oral, that may be considered adverse or prejudicial to Ballymore Number 39 Limited and Curtin Brothers Holdings NG Limited in relation to any of the amended terms of reference relates to the evidence given by Mr. Gabriel Michael as contained in his affidavit in brackets Exhibit DLPP VG1 and his oral evidence already before the Commission, recognising that counsel for Ballymore and Curtin Brothers are entitled to submit that no adverse findings should be made. So we're proposing that that undertaking be given by Mr. Gororo, and we've also asked, and Mr. Gororo has indicated that he should be in a position to also, in addition, by noon of Tuesday next week, to provide any particulars of what he says may be adverse findings. But if I could ask Mr. Gororo just to respond to undertaking number 1, thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Guerrero.
Yes, Commissioner. So I confirm the terms of the undertaking as submitted by my friend, and also confirm that the particulars of those, any potential adverse findings relating to that evidence is to be given to my friends by noon on Tuesday, the 14th of March, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Guerrero and Mr. Commissioner, and noting that Mr. Dari Valet and Mr. Rolpagero will be giving evidence next week. Yes, if we can receive any documents that will be tendered, have either been tendered on behalf of them or that will be tendered, if we can receive them at the earliest next week. In relation to a second undertaking, noting that it is intended to call Mr. Rolpagero and Mr. Valet next week, we've asked Mr. Guerrero to put forward a second undertaking, which I will read to the Commission, and which, Mr. Commissioner, you have in front of you as well.
Yes.
We're proposing and asking Mr. Guerrero to give the next undertaking, which is that, noting all summonses issued by the Commission have now been, are about to be discharged, with the exception of summons number 8 regarding Mr. Daniel Rolpagero and summons number 30 in respect of Mr. Dari Valet, and that the Commission has now reached the stage where submissions are to be made. I confirm an undertaking is given to the Commissioner, Ballymore number 39 Limited and Curtin Bros Holdings NG Limited and Ballymore and Curtin Brothers Bros Council, that the two counsel assisting the Commission of Inquiry will not call any witnesses or adduce any further evidence from any person, department, entity, company or body to whom summonses have previously been addressed, regardless of whether or not a summons was served, nor will any person be called or summoned as a witness from any of the same government departments, entities, companies or bodies to whom summonses have already been addressed to provide written evidence or give oral evidence before the Commission. On the basis of such undertaking, it has been agreed, subject to the convenience of the Commissioner, that Counsel for Ballymore and Curtin Bros make submissions at 10 a.m. on 16 March 2023, subject to the right to make any further submissions after hearing and considering the evidence of Mr. Dari Valet and Mr. Rolpagero. And if I could ask Mr. Guerrero whether he confirms the matters in that second undertaking.
Thank you, Councillor Guerrero.
Yes, Commissioner, I confirm the terms of that second undertaking as submitted by my friend.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner, I've had a look at the issue that Mr. Guerrero raised about the exhibit numbers, and although we sought to tender some documents, they were actually given documents not based on Ashurst's reference, but by reference to the authority in question. So on that basis, so we don't get confused, I respectfully ask Council Sisting to see if they're in agreement, and if the Commission is in agreement, to mark the exhibits from this morning as follows. ASH for Ashurst 1 is the letter of the 28th of February, the first letter that contained the IPBC letter. ASH 2, the letter of the 28th of February that was referred to, the second letter. ASH 3, the letter of the 1st of March 2023. And ASH 4, the first undertaking, and ASH 5, the second undertaking. If Council Sisting could indicate if they're satisfied about those annexure references or exhibit references, and if they are, I'd ask for the Commissioner, with respect, to confirm those numbers.
Thank you, Councillor Guerrero.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vertimos. We have no concerns, or we agree with the exhibit numbering that you proposed.
Thank you, Mr. Guerrero. And if I could just clarify something, Mr. Commissioner. So on the basis of the assurances and undertakings, it's on that basis that Curtin Brothers will be working furiously, effectively through us, to make submissions ready for next Thursday, because as you appreciate, the evidence has to be closed off before we can make submissions, and we needed those assurances so that we can move to the next stage of the roadmap. So that explains the history behind that. Obviously, depending on what the evidence is given by Mr. Dari Valet and the state solicitor, it might be necessary to supplement our submissions made next Thursday, but I don't understand that Mr. Guerrero has any concerns about that. From speaking to Mr. Guerrero, our understanding is that there's nothing adverse in any evidence they will give in relation to our clients. but we're reserving our position, of course. So that just clarifies the reason for the undertaking, Mr. Commissioner. It puts it in context. So we have nothing further at this stage, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Vertimos. And I guess to carry on from what my friends have proposed we do in terms of tendering documents, perhaps I could also tender correspondence that I also did show to my friends early this morning that relates to summons number 37 issued to Mr. Justin McGann. So essentially three correspondence. And I propose that they be marked JM1, JM2, and JM3. So just for the record, the JM1 is a letter addressed from the Commission dated 28th March 2022. It's 3 pages. And that we propose to be marked as JM1. The second exhibit, Commissioner, to be marked JM2 is a letter dated 26 March 2022 from the Commission to Ashurst PNG lawyers. And the third document we propose to also tender is a letter from Ashurst to Council Assisting Commission of Inquiry dated 30th of May 2022, Commissioner, to be marked JM3. I have provided copies to my friends, in particular Mr. Wood, so if I could hand it up and subject to my friend's agreement that those documents be tendered into evidence accordingly, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Yes, I confirm that Mr. Gororo has given me a copy of those 3 letters, JM1, JM2 and JM3, and we have no objection to those documents being tendered into evidence.
Thank you. Council.
Thank you, Commissioner. So in that regard, if you could then deal with the matters as they appear on the list, Commissioner, in relation to the summonses to formally have them discharged. So I call summons number 21 issued to the Prime Minister. That's agenda item number 1, Commissioner. If that summons could be formally discharged and directions issued to that effect, Commissioner.
Yes.
Item number 2, Commissioner, for summons number 7 issued to Mr. Owake. If that could be discharged, Commissioner.
Yes.
Item number 4, summons issued to Dr. Eric Kwa. Summons number 9 issued to the then Attorney General, Dr. Eric Kwa. If that could be discharged, Commissioner.
Yes.
Commissioner, item number 5, summons number 14 issued to Mr. Benjamin Sampson, the Department of Lands Secretary. If that could be discharged.
Yes.
Item number 6, summons number 15 issued to the Registrar of Titles, Mr. Ala Ane. If that could be discharged.
Yes.
Item number 7, summons number 16, Commissioner, if that could be discharged.
Yes.
Commissioner, item number 8 relates to summons number 19. I note Mr. Michael is present this morning, and I wish to acknowledge his continued attendance to the Commission for purpose of giving evidence and being available for purposes of cross-examination. We understand that there has been no questions raised by any of the parties for purposes of cross-examination, Commissioner, and for that reason, we ask that he be excused accordingly.
Sorry, in relation to that matter, we suggest that should be adjourned potentially because we're waiting for Council Assisting to give us particulars that are due on Tuesday. Now, it may be that we don't need to cross-examine him, but we'd like to see the particulars first.
Thank you, Council. Council Assisting.
Commissioner, for those reasons, perhaps if the summons could be adjourned to 10 a.m. on Monday, or rather, if the summons could be adjourned to Tuesday, 14th of March at 10 a.m., Commissioner,
Tuesday, 14th.
for mention.
For mention.
Just to clarify, will we have the particulars by that time? Because I think you've got till noon to give the particulars, Mr. Guerrero, so we'd like to see the particulars in advance. If we have the particulars by Monday afternoon, that'll be fine.
Commissioner, as I submitted, if the summons could be adjourned to Tuesday, 14th of March for mention.
Thank you.
I gave direction that the summons be adjourned to Tuesday, the 14th of March at 10 a.m. for mention.
As the Commission pleases. Now, Commissioner, for purpose of continuing the discharge or otherwise of summonses, item number 10, Commissioner, to the extent now that my friend has indicated that he may wish to cross-examine Gabriel Michael, perhaps we could also adjourn Mr. Justin McGann's summons to Tuesday the 14th of March at 2023, Commissioner. Mr. Michael has raised matters adverse to Mr. McGann, so I guess it is only proper that that summons return as well on Tuesday the 14th at 10 a.m. So if that can be returned for mention, Commissioner.
Thank you. I agree with that. So this summons number 37 will also be adjourned to Tuesday, the 14th of March 2023 at 10 a.m. for mention. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item number 11, Commissioner, summons number 42. Again, that also relates to evidence given by Mr. Michael, perhaps for completeness. That summons number 42 could also be adjourned for mentioned on Tuesday, the 14th of March at 10 a.m.
Yes, Council, I agree with that. Summons number 42, along with the other two, will now be adjourned to Tuesday, the 14th of March 2023 at 10 a.m. for mention. That's the direction.
Commission pleases. And also item number 12, summons number 46, Commission, if that summons could also be discharged, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you, Council. The agenda item that have been indicated, together with the summonses that have been mentioned, apart from those three that will be adjourned to Tuesday, the 14th of March 2023, the others are now being discharged, as indicated. Thank you, Council.
Yes. So just returning to those summons that were not mentioned, but should also be adjourned to Tuesday, Commissioner. As my friend Mr. Wood had indicated, that is summons number 8, appearing as agenda item 3. Yes. And also summons number 30 at item number 9, they should also be adjourned to Tuesday, 14th March at 10 a.m.
I agree with that, Council. Those summonses are now also be adjourned to Tuesday the 14th of March 2023
Yes.
at 10 a.m. Thank you.
The Commission pleases. If there's no further matters in terms of the summonses, Commissioner, my friend could confirm that before we move on to the leave applications that are now set down for hearing this morning.
Thank you.
There's nothing further, Commissioner. I'll hand it over to Mr. Kipper to take the Commission through the leave applications for this morning.
Thank you, Council.
Please, the Commission. Commissioner, Mr. Guerrero has correctly mentioned that the leave applications are listed for hearing this morning. And before I formally refer or make mention of the matters individually, if I may just state at this juncture that for the Commission's noting that some of the landowners or landowner applications or applicants have actually filed their submissions and made oral submissions in relation to the written submissions that they filed. And we note that, and we will still mention those matters for the Commission's noting. I'd also like to state for the record that each of the landowners has a maximum time limit of 20 minutes each, 20 minutes to make their oral submissions. Maybe also at this stage we should deal with the tendering or the production of the redacted versions of the landowner documents that the lawyers for, Mr. Wood from Ashet has copies of here, this one I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Yes, I can confirm that on the basis of the matters agreed, in respect of a schedule that was agreed between Ashurst, Mr. Verdamos and two council assisting, we have prepared redacted copies of the documents by the landowners, and if I can provide to Mr. Kipper, we have 3 volumes of those documents. We have 2 sets, one for Mr. Kipper and one for the Commissioner yourself, and I'll leave it to Mr. Kipper to take the matter further. Thank you.
Commissioner, as you can see for yourself, there's volumes of documents here. And Commissioner will also recall that these documents were marked for identification purposes. And what we propose to do here, Commissioner, is to tender these documents, and we can just simply convert those identification marked numbers into exhibit numbers, and then we can have them marked sequentially, where a document was not given or assigned an identification number, we can give it an exhibit number later on, and then confirm those numbers and have them circulated. Commissioner, that's what we propose to do here in the interests of time, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no objections from my friends from the Curtin brothers.
We have no objection to that cause.
Thank you, Commissioner. If I could just hand up copies of the documents.
Yes. Thank you.
So, Commissioner, I am now referring to volume one of the documents, and I think this is the first batch contains the objections by Curtin brothers to the landowner documents, and it comprises 40 pages. Commissioner, I'll just make mention of the documents, and then, as I mentioned, we can assign them the numbers
Yes.
later on. Document marked 6.1 on the in the folder is application by Nogawa Gaigo, filed on the 10th of February 2022. Also, affidavit in support by No Gagawa Gaigo. I move on to 6.2 on the folder. In the folder is a supplementary affidavit to first affidavit filed at COI on 10 February 2022, sworn 5th of December 2022, and filed on the 7th of December 2022. Six point 3 is a further affidavit by No Gagawa Gaigo, filed on 5th of December 2022. 6.4 is a supporting affidavit by No Gagawa Gaigo, filed on 25th November 2022. 6.5 is an extract of submission on evidences filed on the 7th of December 2022. 6.6 is a application by No Gagawa Gaigo, filed on 6 September 2022. Document 7.1 in the folder is a submission dated 30 September 2022 by Sana Lawyers. Document 7.2, Commissioner, is a letter dated 24 November 2022 on the letterhead of Araira Larabara Community to Mr. Jack Nayak of the Commission of Inquiry. Document 7.3 is a supplementary affidavit by No Momoru, filed on the 9th of December 2022. Document 8.1 is an application for leave to join as a party, filed on the 3rd of October 2022 by Noah Rippey. Document 8.2 is a further submission in support of the application, filed by Noah Rippey. Document 8.3 is an affidavit sworn by John Sione Gorgo, filed on the 4th of December 2022. Document 8.3 is a document entitled Relevant Laws, filed by Noah Rippey on the 9th of December 2022. Document 8.4 is an affidavit of search by Noah Rippey, filed on 8 December 2022. Also marked as 8.4 is a final document entitled Final Summary, filed on 28 November 2022 by Noah Rippey. (8.5) Document entitled Submission, filed by Noah Rippey on 5th of December 2022. And also an affidavit sworn by John Sione Gorgo, filed on the 4th of December 2022. Document 8.6 is a notice of appearance filed by Glenn Jerry, Inehi Land Group. And document 9.1 is a document entitled The Submission for Lowering the Clan of Tatana Village by Ikubugara and Namori Horsberg, filed on the 18th of October 2022. Document 9.2 is entitled Leave Application Points. Document 9.3 is a submission filed on the 17th of February 2023 by Douglas Uyase on behalf of Ikubugara and Namori Horsberg. Document 9.4 is an affidavit by Gaba Govea, filed on 17 February 2023. Document 9.5 is an affidavit sworn by Ikubugara, filed on 17 February 2023. Document 9.6 is an affidavit by Namori Asigal Horsberg, filed on the 17th of February 2023. Commissioner, that's the first volume of our documents. Commissioner, Volume 2 of the documents comprises of the following documents and marked as a document 10.1 is a request to join as a party to the hearing of the Commission of Inquiry. That's filed on the 18th of October 2022. Document 10.2 is a letter by the Chairman, Kavaga Incorporated Land Group, dated 31st October 2022, to the Commission. Document 11.1 is a letter by Gaudu Ray to the Commission, dated 17 October 2022. Document 11.2 is affidavit of Gaudi Ray of Tanamotu clan of Baruni village, sworn on the 18th of October 2022, filed on the 19th of October 2022. Document 11.3 in the file is extract of submissions dated 17th day of February 2023. Document 12.1 is amended submission according to the extension done on 16th day of June 2022 by Kennedy Kevin. Document 12.2 is a supporting affidavit by Kennedy Kevin, sworn on the 5th day of December, filed on the same date. Document 13.1 is a submission by Nigel Mark Jones, dated 14 November 2022, filed on 16th of November 2022. Document 13.2 is a letter by Jopo Lawyers, dated 1st November 2022, to the Commission. Document 13.3 is a statutory declaration by Jamie Jones of Ranueradi Village, dated 22nd February 2017. Document 13.4 is a document showing the Ballymore number 39 company structure, or that's the heading of it. Document 13.5 is a document, it's probably a letter, with the subject Thomas W. Jones and Nigley number 57 Limited. Document 13.6 is a memo. Document 13.7 is what appears to be an agreement, headed Gators Ridgeway Lawyers at the top. Document 13.9 is a similar document with the words Gators Ridgeway Lawyers at the top. Document 13.10 is a lease between Ballymore number 39 Limited and Ballymore number 49 Limited. Document 13.10 also is an agreement, is a lease between Ballymore number 39 Limited and Ballymore number 46 Limited. Document 13.11 is it's headed Company Limited by Shares, or Articles of Association of Nigley number 57, Niglu number 57 Limited, dated 17 Feb 2023. Oh, filed on 17 Feb 2023. Commissioner, I refer to the last volume, the third volume, and it commences with document 14.1, which is a letter by Patrick Heino, dated 13 February 2023, to the Secretary, Commission of Inquiry, Motukea. Document 14.2 is an application seeking leave to attend the Commission of Inquiry by Patrick Heino. That's dated 13 February 2023. Document 14.3 is an affidavit sworn by Patrick Hino on 13 February 2023 and filed on the same day. Document number 14 is a written submission. Presumably filed by Patrick Hino as well, Commissioner. Document 15.1 is a letter. Under the letter of the Commissioner of Inquiry, Motukea, dated 9 December 2022. And document 15.1 is a document that's had past evidence references, Motukea land sale history by Vadio and Gaigo, 1899. Commissioner, those are the landowner documents. As agreed to between the parties.
Just to clarify with Council assisting and the Commissioner, they're redacted versions that have been provided, not unredacted. Is that correct, Council assisting? That's what you're tendering now, the redacted versions.
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner, with the redacted versions now before the Commission, if I may refer to the items on this morning's list. And I start with agenda item number 13. That is leave application number 6. Nenehi Laurenai LG, Chairman No Gagawa Gaigo. If I may invite Council representing Mr. Gagawa to attend at the bar table. Thank you.
Thank you.
But this is the Commission. Council's name is Mr. Yago, spelled Y-A-G-R-O, initial L for Lebanon. Mr. Commissioner, I formally announce my appearance for Mr. No Gagawa Gaigo for leave application number 6 in this matter. Mr. Commissioner, our submissions will be very brief, as I have only noted the redacted version of the documents that's been translated into evidence. Apparently, it will appear that the items which have been marked for evidence and filed by my clients have all been agreed to by council's assisting, as well as the lawyers for Crescent Brothers, to be matters that primarily not in accordance with the terms of reference, quadruple D of the amended terms of reference. And so much of the materials that have been filed so far, Mr. Commissioner, have been decided as inadmissible. And in that respect, Mr. Commissioner, our submissions, which have also been filed, are on record. And at this juncture, Mr. Commissioner, we would like to make our submission primarily based on our submission in response to the objections by Curtin Brothers and Balimo number 39 Limited. Mr. Commissioner would note that as at the time we filed the application, we have never had the benefit of making the initial application for leave. However, we understand leave was granted, and so on that basis, we have proceeded this far in participating with this Commission of Inquiry. And apparently, I understand this morning is for our application for leave, but this is not going to eventuate as leave has been granted, and submissions to that effect have technically been advanced already. And with that respect, Mr. Commissioner, we would like to invite this Commission of Inquiry to give emphasis particularly to our submission in response to objections by Curtin Brothers and Balimo number 39 Limited, which was filed on the 1st of March 2023. Now, in the submission, Mr. Commissioner, it basically encapsulates and covers the entire documentations that have been filed by my client as an interested party to this Commission of Inquiry. Now, we would like the Commission to give consideration to those objections as they form the basis of our client's participation and his contribution on the giving of evidence to this Commission of Inquiry. Mr. Commissioner, I would also like to submit at this juncture that at the outset, the terms of reference, the amended terms of reference, particularly quadruple D, Mr. Commissioner, has been very unfair to the landowners in the sense that it did not provide adequate scope of participation. And so this is a matter which we submit, Mr. Commissioner, that should be considered in favor of my client, in that although he was a willing and able participant, he wasn't given that adequate representation. And with that in the background, Mr. Commissioner, we will submit that the Commission make allowance or accommodation for some of its evidence to be considered by the Commission when considering the final report in this Commission of Inquiry into the sale and purchase of the Motukea Wharf. Much of the materials that were filed, Mr. Commissioner, of course relates back to prehistoric dealings of the land and subsequent dealings over time, which eventually resulted in the sale and purchase of the Motukea Wharf facility, which my client has over the years been able to participate at some point or otherwise was a privy to those measures. And the fact that he was able to comprehensively file affidavit material to that effect, Mr. Commissioner, we submitted. That should be considered in his favor, and that some of his evidence should also be given emphasis to by this Commission of Inquiry in its final report. Mr. Commissioner, with that, we again submitted our written submission which is especially the submission and response to objections by Curtin Brothers and Barrymore No. 39 Limited, filed on the 1st of March 2023, Mr. Commissioner, be especially considered and given emphasis to by the Commission of Inquiry in its final report. Whilst, Mr. Commissioner, it is not open for the parties to make recommendations, Mr. Commissioner, it is our humble submission before this Commission that the inquiry in determining the evidences that have been put before it must make some adverse findings, and the consequence of which, Mr. Commissioner, must result in adequate compensation, or alternatively, some consideration be given to my clients and the people of the Neneki Lorina ILG and the people of Tasana Village, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. That is our brief submission, overall submission in respect of our client's participation in this Commission of Inquiry.
Thank you, Council. Council assisting.
Thank you, Commissioner. For Council assistance purposes, Commissioner will seek to reserve our right to reply to probably the 24th of March, 2023. I understand the position is the same for Curtin Brothers here, given the fact that some of the written submissions were not served on them. If my friend Mr. Wood could confirm that.
Thank you. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, on the basis that we have not received all submissions and in discussions with Mr. Kipper and Mr. Gibson-Garoro, we understand that they will provide us with those submissions hopefully on Monday next week. We certainly reserve rights in respect of Curtin Bros and Ballymore to make submissions in reply either on the 16th or what is intended on the 31st of March.
Sorry, you say 16?
Yeah. 16th of March is when we...
16th of March.
16th of March, but also, Commissioner, in terms of the roadmap, it's intended, subject to your own convenience, that Council assisting will make submissions in reply on the 24th of March, and that we will make submissions in response to their submissions on the 31st of March. And so it's intended that we will either address any landowner issues in reply on the 16th or the 31st of March.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council.
Commissioner, that being the position, if Mr. Counsel for Mr. Noel Gagawa could be excused.
Thank you. You can be excused from the bar table.
That's the Commission, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next agenda item is agenda item number 14. That's leave application number 7, Araira Lower Border Community, Tatana Araira Village.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner and
Morning.
colleagues. For the record, Council's name is Goava, initials JS. I'm from Sun and Lawyers. I represent the interest of the Araira Lower Border community of Tatana Village. Leave application number 7.
Yes.
Mr. Commissioner, we don't wish to go verbatim with our submissions, except to just briefly summarize our submissions that were filed on the 27th of February, 2023, as per your directions. I believe that's the same submission that will be served on the lawyers for Keaton Brothers and Ballymore. Mr. Commissioner, our position is that before I begin, I want to just make a mention of the redacted version, its documents. So on that basis, I believe there's not much necessity in going into the details of the submissions, except to submit that we will adopt the submissions as they are, with the exception of those, the facts or the evidence that was contained and that which have been redacted. I believe my friends, the council assistant, are taking note of that. So, yeah, Mr. Commissioner, in a nutshell, I would just briefly, as I said, I don't intend to briefly go through my submissions because they're already on record. Unless my friends want to raise any issues or questions, I'll be too happy to respond. On behalf of my clients who represent the general community of Tatana village, it's not a small minute group or ILG group, a group of interested landowners. It's a community whose interests have been affected by the project on the Motukea Wharf. Mr. Commissioner, two of its the major objectives on the purpose of seeking leave to appear on behalf of the group before the COI. It's twofold, Mr. Commissioner. If I may refer to paragraph 8 of our submissions. Just briefly, the first objective is whether due and proper legal and administrative processes were followed in the sale and purchase of Motukea Wharf. That is the backdrop consideration that the landowners have. And this COI been legally tasked, I believe, to ensure or consider that aspect. Mr. Commissioner, the second objective of the landowners and the group that I represent is the question of whether there was any genuine consultation with the legitimate customary landowners prior to such purported sale and purchase of Motukea Wharf. Mr. Commissioner, those are the two basic objectives that concern our landowners. Apart from that, we don't intend, my clients don't intend to revisit any prior or previous land disputes or issues. That's outside the Commission's terms of reference, and we respect that. And we are not here to invent the wheel, if I may say. But thank you for the opportunity, for granting us leave to present our case. And Mr. Commissioner, to conclude, I believe this Commission of Inquiry has sufficient powers to stay within its terms of reference. At the same time, seriously consider the humanitarian grounds, the aspects of the totality of the lives of the people of Tatana village. I seriously believe they have been marginalized by the process, so to speak. So I respectfully stand here today with the greatest respect to this Commission of Inquiry to seek redress for the benefit of the landowners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council. Council Assistant.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, the position is the same. We reserve our reply to a later date, if necessary. If that's the same for Mr. Wood, then if Mr. Glover could be excused.
Thank you, Commissioner. I confirm that on behalf of our clients, we reserve the right to make any reply at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. If Mr. Glover could be excused from the bar table.
Yes, thank you for coming. Thank you for the submission, and be excused from the bar table. Thank you.
Commissioner, I now move on to agenda item number 15, leave application number 8, Inehi Incorporated Land Group.
Yes.
Mr. Commissioner, my records
Councillor.
seem to my records seem to indicate. Can you hear me, Mr. Commissioner? Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. My records indicate that submissions were made by this landowner already on the 17th of February, and that might be why no one's coming up, but Council consisting might be able to confirm that. But leave application 8, final submissions were actually made to you on the 17th of February 2023 already. That's what our records show.
Yes. Councillor Sising.
That's correct. Mr. Noribi is here.
Okay.
We'll let him enter his appearance.
Thank you.
Matters listed.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. The name is Ripi, Noah Ripi. I'm a consultant. I represent on behalf of Inehi Incorporated Land Group.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Commissioner, I have nothing further to submit except that I will comply with the terms of reference and the Commission of Inquiry Act 1951, Section 8, which stated I have to enter prove that they have a bona fide interest on the project area. Mr. Commissioner, I have made all the submissions. I will only give a brief redacted version of the submissions that I had made to the Commission. Mr. Commissioner, the bona fide interest that I want to establish there is that Inehi Incorporated Land Group is an incorporated land group that was registered within the law under the Amended Act 2009 of the Incorporated Land Groups Act. The interest that they have is on the little Motukea Island, which is called Motukea Marikina, registered in their incorporated land group. It's a registered property. I have filed a submission in response to the objection of Ketten Brothers that there was a survey done in 1994, and there were two separated portions. In those two separated portions, Mr. Commissioner, that those two portions covered a lot of area. When the state PNG Ports purchased Motukea, there was a causeway built across to the terminal where the cargoes have been offloaded now. In between that, the registered land group's interest is on Motukea Marikina, which is a registered property. That causeway trespassed that area. That is the interest that I want to establish in this commission. There's already encroachment upon the land group's land. Those are the interests which I want to highlight in this commission. Mr. Commissioner, it is very, very important that what is registered under the law, according to the objectives of this Commission of Inquiry, it is stated that if there were any constitutional requirements breached, if there were breaches of constitutional requirements, or if there was negligence done on the part in that project area. Inahi Incorporated Land Group has a registered interest in there, which was established by their ancestor according to the terms of reference in clause 1D, quadruple 4D. That their ancestor was the person who vended Motukea Island. Today, in 2018, they registered an incorporated land group, and the registered properties were objected to, and objections went through a process, the court process, and they received a certificate of title. And the small island, which is called Motukea Marikina, is a registered property that has been encroached upon or trespassed upon. The causeway travels through to the terminal, container terminal, where the ships come in to bed. Mr. Commission, there is nothing much. That evidence is provided to the Commission from 1994, when there was no development, and current 2022, all those cadastral survey maps are provided to the Commission, and the interest, bona fide interest is established in that. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Council.
Thank you, Commissioner. No submissions implied for now. If Mr. Rippey could be excused from the bar table. Thank you.
Thank you for your attendance this morning. Can be excused from the bar table.
Mr. Commissioner, like the other submissions, we reserve our position, as Mr. Wood said,
Yes.
in relation to this particular submission to make submissions in reply if required.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I move on to item number 16. That is leave application number 9, Ikupu Gavera and Namuria Holzberg. Mr. Uyasi is in attendance this morning.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Good morning.
Council's name is Uyasi, initial less appearing for Ikupu Gavera and Namuria Holzberg, leave application number 9. Mr. Commissioner, for your information, my clients have already filed an initial submission, and that has been examined already by the has already been examined, and objections been given, and 7 paragraphs have not been objected to in that initial submission. So we have filed a reply submission based on those that have not been objected to. And that was filed on the 7th of this month. Now, I have, Mr. Commissioner, asked for your leave to allow Mr. Gaba Govea to make the brief submission on behalf of the 2 applicants. This is simply for the fact that he was the person who did submit his affidavit, and the submissions were based on those on the facts stated in that affidavit. So, with your leave, I'll ask him to make a brief submission and we can conclude this.
Thank you.
Conclude the submissions for the two applicants.
Mr. Chairman, for records, my name is Gove, initial G. I'm appearing for Namudi Horseberg and Yukupugavera of Laurina clan of Tatana village. And I'd like to I'd like to look at the submission that was filed earlier, and the submission was objected to by Keaton Brothers and Balimo Limited. I've read Keaton and Balimo's respond to the their objections and the submission they did in relation to the objection. I've read that, and most of the objections that were made were in relation to one DDDD, and I accept most of their objections because the scope of that particular clause is shallow, and we have to work within the framework of the terms of reference. And I accept that. And that's a comment that I made in the submission that that was scandalous, and it was stated on the objection, and I would like to retract that. And what I did was I did a resubmission, and then I extracted what was not objected to, and we filed it on the 7th. 7th, so I agree that Keaton and Balimo will agree to the amended submission. On that note, I would like to look at a little bit of issues that concerns me, and as representing the Laurina clan of Tatana village. This issue that I would have to bring out to the attention of the Commission is that the terms of reference 1DDD, it talks about land dealings at the time of acquisition to the time of sale. So there is no clarity on that terms of reference, and the landowners have come up with compensation claims and things like that, and we tend to go out of the scope of that 1DDD. So the question that I want to raise in this Commission of Inquiry is, what is the land dealings? The land dealings in relation to the acquisition. So when we look at 1DDD, it states that what are the land dealings at the time of acquisition to the time of sales. So what are the land dealings? In Keaton and Balimo's response, they stated that 1DDD would only relate to the chronology of events. So if that is the case, then what's the rationale behind the decision to invite the landowners to this inquiry? So, my understanding of the dealings with the land in relation to acquisition would involve the documents for that acquisition, the decision for the acquisition, and all that. It may end on touching into the indivisibility of title, but it's the land dealings. We're talking about the land dealings of the acquisition. So what do we look at? So that is Keaton's reading the clause. They said we have to look at the chronology of the events, starting from the acquisition of Customary land to the sale. But what is the view of the Commission of Inquiry? the council assisting, what is their view on that 1 DDDD? How do they look at it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This issue that's been raised here in this submission, it's a probing question that council give some clarification on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll let him finish his submissions,
Yes.
and then, as I stated in the other cases, we'll reply at a later date. Let him finish his submissions.
Thank you, council. Complete your. Listen.
Yeah, I need clarity on that because, reading through the Commission of Inquiry terms of reference and the response from Keaton Brothers, but not Commission of, the COY, one tends to ask the question of what is the rationale behind the decision to invite the landowners to this Commission of Inquiry. So, Keaton Brothers and Balimo made the response as to how they read the terms of reference, how they read it. So how do the council assisting the COY read 1 DDDD? What is the land dealings regarding the acquisition? Is it the chronology of events as stated by Keaton Brothers and Balimo? What does the CO say about the land dealings in regards to the acquisition? Okay. The original title, the title of Motukea Wharf project is the consolidation of portion 001 and 2195 State List Folio 171 for an area of 77 hectares, which resulted in the first acquisition of customary land. Another consolidation of portion 2001, 2195, and 2661 on the 27/11/2012 for an area of 156.10 hectares, redefined as portion 2895. Another portion 2991 for an area of 27.34 hectares was acquired and again consolidated for portion 283 containing an area of some 183.44 hectares. The application for the acquisition was done by AKT Associates Brian Ulrich. Later the area was split into 2 blocks on the 2nd 11/2014 as portion 33559 and 3360, and a notice issued executed by the ministerial delegate Romney Kilapet on the 13th 11/2014. Portion 3359, volume 64, folio 177 equals 89.56 hectares. Portion 3360, volume 64, folio 178, 63.47 hectares. Portion 336 was transferred to PNG Post Corporation on the 3rd of November 2020. This is the portion that netted about 1 billion kina. So that's those are the events that happened on the land, the area in question. So if our request is, if the acquisition was looked at, the land dealings in relation to the acquisition, we would request that the acquisition of portions, the consolidation of portion 2895 and 2991 should be looked at. Because those applications the application was made by Mr. Brian Ulrich. And the notice to that separation of the block was made by Romney Kilapet. So we believe that the acquisition of the area that contains 3360 should be looked at. And I believe that would fall into the terms of reference 1 DDDD.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing further to add.
You've concluded your submission.
Yeah, I have reasons for requesting that the application by Brian Ulrich be looked at. Yeah. Because, I believe he's also been summoned to appear before this Commission of Inquiry. So that application is of interest to be looked at. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Assisting.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, we will reserve our reply to a later date. Mr. Wood?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, on behalf of our clients, we also reserve our clients' position to make any submissions in reply if necessary. Thank you.
Commissioner, if Messrs. Oyasi and Gaba could be excused from the bar table.
Thank you for your presence this morning.
Thank you, Mr.
Can be excused from the bar table.
Commissioner, I just want to note, I mentioned for the Commission's noting that it's 12:33, and we have about 6 applications to mention. Commissioner, I propose to continue on with the applications if there's no objections from my friends from Ashurst.
Objections. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. You can proceed.
Thank you. Commissioner, agenda item number 17, leave application number 10, Chief Haraka Borama, Chairman Kavaga ILG, Sasiva.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Morning.
For the record, Council's name is Darada, spelled D-A-D-A-D-A, initial S for Stephen,
Yes.
and I enter appearance for leave applicant number 10,
Yeah.
Chief Haraka Borema of Kaivaga ILG. Mr. Commissioner, for the purposes of the final submission by my client, we have filed a submission which was filed on the 9th of March. Basically, for the purposes of the final submission by my client, we intend to rely on the submission. And also, when considering that submission, Mr. Commissioner, we also submit that the Commission can also look at the submission previously filed by my client in respect of the objections by Ketten Brothers Limited and Balimo number 39, which is the submission filed on the 3rd of March 2023. And Commissioner, we do not have any further submissions to make except to rely on those 2 submissions that we have filed and which is on the Commission's record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner,
Yes,
sorry, could I just indicate, yeah, sorry, Mr. Commissioner, could I just indicate we haven't seen the 9th of March 2023 submission, so we again reserve our right to respond at an appropriate time, including, if required, including to respond in relation to any objections we might have to the submissions. Obviously, if we haven't seen them, we can't reply at this point.
thank you. Councillor,
Thank you, Commissioner. The position is the same for Council Assistant. We will reply at a later date if necessary. But we will obviously serve the submissions on Ash's lawyers by Monday at the latest.
thank you.
If Council could be excused with Mr. Chief Worma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Attendance this morning, you can be excused from the bar table. Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 18 is leave application number 11 filed by Mr. Gaudi Ray of the Tanamatu clan, Baruni village.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Thank you. Name is Gaudi Ray, chairman of Tanamatu clan from Baroni village.
Yes.
We have actually made our submission and filed on the 1st of March 2023, and we would be relying on the submissions we file with the response to Ketum Brothers and Balimo 39. But with the ruling that has been made and they upheld, the Balimo 39 Ketum Brothers redacting the affidavits actually filed, we seek Commission actually to extra submission, verbal submission, based on our submission in response to Ketum Brothers and Balimo 39. What we are trying to bring to this Commission of Inquiry, after the objections been done by Balimo 39 and Ketum Brothers, we believe our understanding of the terms of reference, quadruple section A, quadruple D, we believe our affidavits, most materials that we file were within the acquisition process of how the wharf actually was acquired. Therefore, we submit to this Commission of Inquiry that our submission, like other submissions done, we actually seek emphasis on the Commission of Inquiry. On paragraph 15, we actually stated the question of considering or excluding matters that are not within the TOR is the role of the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission of Inquiry should not be told how to do its job by Ketum Brothers Limited and Balimo 39 in guise of submission, claim that they are assisting the Commission of Inquiry. To fruitfully assist the Commission of Inquiry, they should assist by filing the necessary materials to answer the question posed by the TOR. So, Mr. Commissioner, why we try to be parties in this Commission of Inquiry is that we have actually been dealing with this land where the wharf is for quite some time, and it's all been filed in our affidavits and our submission. Because benefits that have actually derived from the project itself has not actually come right through the landowners. There was no proper social mapping, clan mapping been done to identify the actual landowners who should be benefiting from the actual project. So when the initial acquisition process actually commenced, we have actually been writing correspondence and then putting in our affidavits with titles, customary land titles on the causeway where the land that causeway passes through. We therefore still submit to this Commission of Inquiry that our documents still should be looked at, and whatever necessary reports to be submitted to the government of the day should proceed as it is. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you.
Commissioner, the council system reserves the right to make submissions in response at a later date. Mr. Wood.
Thank you, Commissioner. Also reserve rights on behalf of both our clients to make submissions in reply if necessary.
Thank you.
If Mr. Gadure could be excused from the bar table.
Yes, thank you for your attendance this morning. Thank you. Can be excused from the bar table.
Commissioner, agenda item number 19 is leave application number 12 by Mr. Kennedy Kevin, Land Chief of the Naurena clan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner and Council's Assistant.
Good morning.
Commission pleases, I state my name for the record. I am Kennedy Kevin, the next of kin land chief of Kevin Raro. I stand on behalf of myself and all direct descendants of Waigo Resena of Naurena clan, Tatana village. Honorable Commissioner, Commission pleases, before I begin, I'd like to briefly mention that my amended submission, filed on the 11th day of November 2022, the one I'm about to present this morning, was never objected. Thank you. Now, I go through my submission.
Thank you.
I begin from paragraph 2. Firstly, I would like to make it clear to the Commission that the land that was sold is outside of Motukea boundary and is a customary land known as Rarove, which also belongs to my great-great-grandfather, Waigo Resena. Motukea boundary consists of portions 2004 and 2195, containing only 77 hectares. The current international wharf is built on Rarove, not Motukea. This information is supported by this one current page evidence outlining the surveyed Motukea land boundary. Attached on my submission is a true copy of Annexure KKR1 of the Ranubada customary land map, identifying various portions including Motukea and Rarove. Also, the surveyed Motukea land boundary. Honorable Commissioner, also respectfully, I'd like to point out that this inquiry is misleading. The reason being that the wharf under inquiry is not situated on Motukea, but on Rarove customary land, which was fraudulently acquired, which I will touch on a little soon on my submission. I continue from paragraph 3. This is my lineage from Waigo Resena, land chief, down. From my great-great-grandfather, Waigo Resena, the power of land chief was passed down to his son, Henao Raigo. From my great-grandfather, Henao Raigo, it was passed down to my grandfather, Rarua Henao. Then from my grandfather, Rarua Henao, it was passed down to my father, Keren Rarua. Through the strict Naurina custom, which is based on the patrilineal society, the land chief powers were handed down from father to son, according to the father's discretion. Only one son was chosen to carry on the legacy, practiced generation after generation. Therefore, I, as the legitimate son of Keren Rarua, am now the next of kin land chief of Naurina clan, as according to the strict Naurina clan history and custom, whereby the powers of the land chieftainship was passed down from father to son, namely Rahesiahu, son Rahona Morahe, son Resena Rahonamo, son Raigo Resena, son Henao Raigo, son Rarua Henao, son Keren Rarua, son Kennedy Kevin. Now, Honorable Commissioner, I move on to paragraph 11 of my submission. Before this inquiry was issued, we were deeply aggrieved by the sale and the grave injustice that took place, that my father, late Keren Rarua, took the action to take this matter up to court, which is now before the National Court, case file number WS634 of 2018. My late father, Keren Rarua, is the only plaintiff from Tatana village. Attached on my submission is a true copy of Annexure KKR2, the cover page of WS634 of 2018. Paragraph 12. Sorry. My father, late Mr. Keren Rarua, wrote a letter dated 19 February 2018 to the Solicitor General's office in satisfaction of Section 5 of Claims by and against State Act 1996 to make a claim against the independent state of Papua New Guinea. Honorable Commissioner, before I continue, Commission pleases, I'd like to quote paragraph 2 of the amended statement of case, point B, objective. Start of quote. The ultimate objective of the Commission of Inquiry is to establish whether there were breaches of PNG laws and constitutional requirements in the process of negotiation and approval in the relocation of Port Moresby Wharf and acquisition of Motukea Wharf and its development, and also establish whether PNG as a country had suffered as a result of this deal, and whether the persons involved in the deal can be held accountable for their actions. End of quote. Honorable Commissioner, I make it very clear to this Commission that my submission not only highlights the constitutional rights that were overlooked, but also the PNG laws that were not followed and breached. I continue from paragraph 13. By the proclamation made on the 6th day of November 1884 by Her Majesty Queen Victoria, by grace of God of United Kingdom of Britain, Great Britain and Ireland, Defender of Faith and Empress of India, our customary land, our property, and our lives are protected under her care, which no competent jurisdiction has or will ever have the right to overrule. Paragraph 14. We further plead the protections under sections 53, bracket 5, bracket A, bracket C, bracket D, and schedule 2, 4, 6 of the Constitution of Papua New Guinea, as well as section 7 of the Pacific Islanders Protection Act, 1875. Paragraph 15. Our claim is based strongly on the fact that, according to the Naurina history, on the 20th day of March, 1899, my great-great-grandfather, namely Raigo Resena, signed the Motukea Island DA-203 document as the land chief, and his brother-in-law, late Vediho Vediho, from Nenehi clan, signed as the witness for my great-great-grandfather, Raigo Resena. Vediho Vediho signed in his capacity as the Tatana village councillor. Paragraph 16. Raigo Resena signed and sold customary land locally known as Motukea Island to the Crown, and Vediho Vediho witnessed him. We are not aware that Crown has transferred Motukea Island, Day 203, or any other Crown titles to the independent state of Papua New Guinea to date. Attached is a true copy of Annexure KKR 3 of the Motukea Day 203 document. Paragraph 17. Also, the Kanudi LTC decision of 1972 supports my great-great-grandfather, Raigo Resena, as the landowner. When Commissioner Mr. Corbett William Kimoli declared my great-grandfather, namely Henao Raigo, the only son of Raigo Resena, as the landowner of Kanudi, he also pointed out and made it very clear that this Raigo Resena was the same Raigo that signed as the customary landowner or land chief of Motukea Island on Day 203. Attached is a true copy of Annexure KKR 4, the 1972 Kanudi LTC full hearing prime decision. Paragraph 18. Sometime in 2014, Katimbros Holdings NG Limited trespassed upon and sold railway customary land, which is in the proximity of Motukea Island, and sold it to the independent state of Papua New Guinea for 1 billion kina, without our knowledge and consent. On the 30th day of January 2015, Mr. Alani as the acting registrar of titles, Mr. Sam Wenge as chairman of Land Board, and Mr. Benjamin Samson as the acting secretary for Department of Lands and Physical Planning, or their predecessors.
I have an objection, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes.
I've let my learned friend, I have an objection. My learned friend submitted to you incorrectly with respect at the beginning of the submissions, and I've now verified it's incorrect. He said that there was no objection to the submissions that had been filed, which he's now reading from. That is not incorrect. He referred to them as submissions of the 11th of November 2022. In fact, in the objections, they were the submissions that he's now reading verbatim were entitled amended submissions according to the extension done on 16th of June 2022, and they were filed on the 11th of November 2022. They were in fact objected to, and they were ruled inadmissible, and now he's trying to go behind the ruling and read verbatim what you've already made as a ruling, and we object to that course being adopted. We were misled in the sense that our learned friend, or Mr. Kevin Kennedy, said that they weren't objected to. That's not correct. They were successfully objected to. So we object to the course of our learned friend, contrary to the ruling, simply reading his submissions, which objection has been upheld. That's not permissible. And he shouldn't continue with this course. And Council Assisting can confirm LA 12, 1, the amended submissions were objected to successfully, except for a few paragraphs, and now he's trying to read the entirety of the affidavit, even the objected parts, of the submissions. He can only refer to those parts that weren't ruled as impermissible, but now he's reading the entirety of it.
Thank you, Council.
The Council Assisting looks, I think it's on page 37 of the objections, LA 12, item 1. There's a reference to LA 12, Kennedy Kevin. Council Assisting might see that. Does Ms. Maliva have that?
No, I don't have the objections before me. Or
Well, the rulings, you don't have the determination?
I don't know that. I don't have that, Mr. Artemis. In any event, if I may suggest a way forward, if the Commission could note the objection by Mr. Artemis, and if I may propose that Mr. Kennedy Kevin sum up his submissions, and then the Commission can make a determination on the, the determination is already, the Commission can then obviously consider the relevant submissions or the relevant parts of the submissions as objected to. I will just allow Mr. Kevin to sum up his submissions for now.
Thank you. Continue.
Continue.
I have not the objection as raised by the council. There's other verification made by the council assisting.
Yes, Honorable Commissioner. What I want to say before this Honorable Commission is all in my submission, and I leave it to the submission. Thank you.
Thank you. Council.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, we will reserve our right to reply at a later date.
Thank you, Commissioner. On behalf of my clients, we reserve the right to make any submissions in reply. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission, please, if Mr. Kennedy Kevin could be excused from the bar table.
Yes. Can be excused from the, thank you for your presence this morning. Thank you.
Commissioner, next item is agenda item number 20. It is leave application number 13, Mr. Michael Mark Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Jones is online. I'll invite him to enter his appearance.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Good morning.
And the council's assistant. For the records, my name is Michael Jones. I represent the Thomas Dowry Jones family. Firstly, I would like to thank you for allowing me to appear in this inquiry. If I may be allowed, I would now like to do a brief verbal submission to highlight or summarize our part in this matter.
Yes.
I believe that we have already submitted all our documents, including the last three that we submitted on Friday, the 17th of February, 2023. However, most of our documents have now been set aside due to objections. The only ones that have been allowed are the contract of sale between Thomas Dowry Jones and Ballymore number 39, the business lease title itself, the articles of association of Ballymore number 39, and finally, the 4 subleases that were signed by Thomas Dowry Jones between Ballymore number 39 and Ballymore numbers 46, 47, 48, and 49. The Motukea land, the subject of this inquiry, was first acquired in the 1980s by our late father Thomas Dowry Jones through the Lands Department through proper legal process. It actually took him several years before he was able to obtain the state lease title. In 1992, with Curtin Brothers' advice and assistance, the state lease title for for Motukea portions 2001 and 2195, Millings Granville for Mill Mosby, was then converted to a business lease title on the 1st of February 1992. In 1993, Thomas Dowry Jones went into a business deal with Keaton Brothers. The arrangement and intention of the deal was for Thomas Dowry Jones to have 50% for providing the land and 50% for Keaton Brothers to provide the capital. From the beginning, Thomas Dowry Jones, a man of limited education and especially of a very limited legal knowledge, ended up signing the agreement to transfer the business lease title to Ballymore number 39. At that time was their joint venture company. And on the same day, at the same time, was made to sign 4 subleases. Now, Mr. Commissioner, I want to point out that Thomas Dowry Jones, in signing this all-important initial agreement, was not given sufficient time for due consideration, and more importantly, without any independent legal advice or representation. Thomas Dowry Jones, in signing the 4 subleases, believed at the time that he also had ownership in all the 4 companies within the subleases, as they were also named Ballymore, but with different numbers, 46, 47, 48, and 49. Sadly, that was not the case, as the whole arrangement was not right from the beginning, as proven by the initial agreement signed between Thomas Dowry Jones and Keaton Brothers. Also, by signing the 4 subleases, Thomas Dowry Jones unwittingly diluted his ownership to the extent that he lost all control. For an indigenous man, a local of Tatana village, and a man who originally held the state lease title over the whole Motukea land, to end up with very little is totally unfair and lacks natural justice, considering the original intention of their deal. In closing my brief verbal submission, Mr. Commissioner, I humbly plead with the Commission of Inquiry to give our leave application a proper due consideration to relieve some of our grievances. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and the Council's assistant.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Council.
Commission, please. Again, Commissioner, we reserve our right to reply at a later date.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. On behalf of Ballymore and Curtin Brothers, we also reserve our rights to make submissions in response at a later time.
Thank you.
If Mr. Jones could be excused.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for joining us this morning. You can be excused.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and the Council's assistant.
Commission, please. I move on to item number 21, which is leave application number 14, Nenehi Clan, Vadio Dowry, Tatana Village by Patrick Haino.
Yes.
Morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Morning.
The name is Pierre Haino.
Yes.
I appear for on behalf of my father and Video Dowry of Nene Clan. We know the Commission has already made a ruling with respect to the objection, so we have no further submissions to make. We will rely on our submissions in response. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you. Council?
Please, Commission, we will consider the submissions and reserve our right to reply at a later date.
Thank you, Commissioner. On behalf of our clients, we also reserve our rights to make submissions in reply at a later time.
Thank you.
If Mr. Aino could be excused.
Thank you for your attendance this morning. You're going to be excused from the bar table.
Agenda item number 22 is leave application number 15, filed by Sogo CI NA Clan, Araira, Tatana Village.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Good morning.
My respect to all the participants of this inquiry. My respect to all the participants of this inquiry. I humble myself to the Commission and particularly as church elder, I give my praise and glory and honor the God Almighty, who is the creator of heaven and earth. Amen. Mr. Commissioner, I understand that this is a matter of seek and find. And so I was very interested to come into this commission of inquiry into the sale and purchase of the Motukea Wharf. Relocation of Port Moresby Wharf to Motukea Wharf. My interest in this inquiry is that as of the deed of 1899, Vedi Hodare, my great grandfather, he was the recognized identity of Motukea land ownership. So as the records and the history states, Vedi and Gaigo, the natives of Tatana, were recognized by the past colonial government. The document which was prepared by George Lee Ruthven Lee Hunt. He was the lieutenant governor of the British New Guinea. And the registration of that acquisition was made on the 11th April 1899. So, referring to the relocation process, Mr. Commissioner, It's a big question why the landowners were not involved in the relocation process. If they had been involved, I think this inquiry would be smooth and fine, going through the right process of terms of reference as of NEC and Honorable Prime Minister. Because I am the direct descendant of Vedi Hodauri, I want this commission to confirm our identity as the true land ownership identity of Motukea Island. I have made some reference on my updates, presenting them to the two counsel and his assistant. Particularly with documents of Catherine's original engagement on Motukea Island. When they commence work flattening or clearing Motukea Island, from Tathana, there were two identified land groups representing the two original recognized peasants, Vedio from Nenehi clan and Raigo from Laurina clan. These two clans, Nenehi and Laurina clan, from Tathana village, were meeting with Ketin Bros management, namely Mr. Bob Slida, Mr. Bob Slida and Mr. Colin Miller. I have a copy of a meeting that was attended to and a payment of 500 Kenya. The meeting, for the meeting, whenever they have meetings, there's a small allowance provided for the meeting by Catins. And the breakup of the 500, 250 for each of the attendant. This is the copy of the reference I could for you.
I object, Mr. Commissioner, I object. This is going outside the terms of reference. Secondly, there was an opportunity to file affidavits, wasn't put in the affidavits, but even if it was, it would be objectionable. I
have not finished my statement. Can you?
Yes, thank you.
Excuse me, please.
Yes, thank you.
Excuse me, please.
Objecting.
Excuse
I'm sorry,
me, please.
but I'm objecting.
No.
I'm making an objection, and there need to be a ruling on it. Sir, could you please sit down while I make the objection?
Council,
Yes, if I may suggest that Commissioner take note of the objection,
Yes.
and then obviously, obviously we will make submissions in reply to the objection taken as well. Also, I also mentioned for the Commissioner's noting that Mr. Sogosia has filed extensive submissions. If my memory serves me correctly, it's filed 2, I believe. And if I may mention that we will take note of the submissions that Mr. CI has filed. If I could kindly ask if Mr. CI could summarize his submissions, and the Commission can make its findings later on. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Sia, you can summarize your submission.
Thank you. For the terms of reference, I've responded, I've updated and responded respectively. Responding to the objection by Mr. Mal, like I've responded to that a few minutes ago. Lorena and Nene Clan have met with Catherine Bros during the commencement of the project at Motukea. Since early 90s. So, like I said earlier, why were the landowners not involved in the relocation process?
Thank you. Council?
Thank you, Commissioner. We will reserve our right to reply at a later time.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. It should be placed on the record that we maintain the objection that was put forward by Mr. Vrudamos on the basis that Mr. Vrudamos articulated, including that the submission and the evidence that was sought to be led is outside the terms of reference and it's hearsay and not relevant. We note that you Commissioner, did make a ruling, but we maintain the objection and submit that Mr. Commissioner, that part of the submission and evidence should not be permitted, and we maintain that objection and we reserve our rights on behalf of our clients to make submissions at a later time in respect of the submissions that were made today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That is noted. And if Mr. CI could be excused from the bar table.
Mr. CI, thank you for your attendance this morning. You can be excused from the bar table.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, those are all of today's matters. There being no further matters, I request that the inquiry be adjourned to next week, Tuesday, the 14th of March 2022 at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Thank you for your attendance this morning. We have no other matters to deal with this morning. As said, you can now adjourn all the matters to Tuesday next week at 10 a.m. Thank you.